Hi, I'm Claire, and I'm a Penn Law student, and I'm going to go through some of the things that you need to know in order to get your real ID in the state of Pennsylvania. Actually, this is really Philadelphia that I'm talking about, but it might also apply to your local area, your local municipality. So there is a sheet that's on their website, and the PA.gov, if you look at the Department of Motor Vehicles website, it asks you to bring a whole bunch of documentation for a real ID. Now, do we need to get a real ID? That's the big question. So if you ever find yourself like wanting to fly in a plane, a domestic flight, after May 7th, that's what they said on their signs and such, then you must have a real ID. Until then, I think you can bring a passport. At some point, they're going to switch over to real ID. So that's why everybody's like in this fear that they should get a real ID. So here on this page, there's a page that's on the website, and it lists all the requirements. If you read this, it looks pretty scary. So it wants proof of identity, and there's two possibilities. There is a birth certificate, and there's also a passport, right? Proof of identity. But if you read the fine print, that's not really fine print, but if you actually read this, it actually says you need either the birth certificate or the passport. Now, your birth certificate should be an original or certified copy of a birth certificate filed with the State Office of Vital Records with a raised embossed seal, issued by an authorized government agency. So they don't want copies, they want the original deal. So you could either give that or a valid unexpired US passport or passport card. So if you don't have a passport, the only option is the birth certificate with the raised embossed seal. If you don't have that, you're not going to get a real ID. Now, that's proof of identity. Now, the next one is proof of social security number. And here are the options. So you need any of the 5 following: a social security card, or a W-2 form, or an SSA-1099 form, or a non-SSA 1099 form, or a pay stub. That's what it says the 5 options are. So you basically need one of those items because, again, there are 5 options, but this last item actually says or. So in this section here, you need one of those items. The easiest thing to do is to furnish your social security card. So if you have that, or your W-2, then you can use that. 2 proofs of current physical address. So there's 2 options here. 2 options in this section. And it says a current unexpired PA license or ID. That's your driver's license or your photo ID card that you got from the driver's licensing center, the photo ID center. Or a PA vehicle registration, auto insurance card, or utility bill with the same name and address. Okay, so there's 2 options, right? And it does say or, but you need both of them. That's what it's basically saying here, 2 of these. So here's the problem. Okay, I'm going to tell you how I ran into a problem, but luckily I had all of my identification with me, all of my documents. I tried to submit my PA vehicle registration for my car, and they looked at it and they said, do you have something else? So you can't just bring the title of your car and show that as your proof because they're going to balk at it. So what you need to do is, if you have an auto insurance card, that counts, like Geico or State Farm or whatever insurance company you use. Make sure you have the auto insurance card that actually shows your physical Pennsylvania address on the card. Or a utility bill. Now, in these days of like all online transactions, it's very difficult to get a paper bill. Some places actually do print out a paper bill for you, and then you can pay that with your check. But very few people seem to write checks these days. So it is typically very difficult to get a utility bill with your address on it. But if you can, then great, that's another form of identification. If you get a PICO bill, for example, if PICO sends you a bill directly, that counts too. So I ended up using the auto insurance card because I showed them my vehicle registration just as a test, right? I just wanted to see how much of jerks they are, right? So they were a jerk to me, and they said, no, we can't use this. Do you have anything else? And I said, here's my auto insurance card. So immediately I was able to like just bring this out and show. And because you have as many documents as you can, like look this over, review this, everybody, because if you don't have everything that you need at a moment's notice, then you're going to have to like leave and come back again with the proper documents. So make sure that you carry with you at least the minimum stuff and more, right? So more than just the minimum documents you should have. So Last one is proof of legal name changes if applicable. And that really is a certified marriage certificate, court order, or adoption decree issued by your county's family court. So from what I see here, talking from a Penn law student here, but I'm not your lawyer, so don't count this as legal advice. It basically says to me that if you just recently got married and your name changed because of your marriage, then your driver's license will probably have a different name than what is on your marriage license. So you want to make sure that you bring whatever name change forms you had in court with you and present that as well. That's your proof of all legal name changes document, your marriage license, things like that. Court order in case you changed your name, because some people don't like their name for whatever reason. So instead of, say, the name Samuel, they'll name themselves Skippy or something like that, and they'll make that their legal name change. Others decide to make their name something totally different than what their first and last names are. Like, what is it? The basketball player that had that really odd, strange name. Yeah, so pretty cool. So that's basically it. Proof of identity. It's an or section, so you need one of those. Proof of social security number. You need one of those, usually a social security card. 2 proofs of physical PA address, which is the driver's license, and what I told you, the auto insurance card is the easiest thing. If you have a utility bill from Pico or something like that, that could count too. But the PA vehicle registration, I had an issue with. Maybe you won't. So yeah, it all depends on your DMV center. And then there's proof of all legal name changes, which is like your court documents, your marriage license, things like that. So then make sure, this sounds like really obvious, but make sure you have your current PA driver's license, which is one of your documents, right? One of your IDs with you. Because I know that some of you might accidentally leave your driver's license at home or something like that for whatever reason. Make sure that's with you too. And you want to bring that form, right? There's a form for your renewal of your license. So if you're getting a renewal of your license, be sure to bring that form. They're going to look at that too. And let's see, anything else in this wonderful thing right here? No, that's basically it. So let me also say that birth certificates, in the past, I would show my original birth certificate for my driver's license, and they would not accept it. And here's what I mean by that. I had an actual notarized copy of my actual birth certificate. And if you remember the old-time birth certificates from the 70s and prior, they were very different than the electronic formats they have now. It was actually like a hand-typed kind of thing. And if you didn't have that, you would make a copy of it, and you would get a notary to actually notarize the copy, and that was a valid birth certificate. Not anymore. You have to get that electronic copy if you don't have the original birth certificate from the 70s and prior, if you're as old as I am, and make sure that you get the electronic copy, because that will be the actual notarized thing that they're looking for. So how much is that going to cost? In PA, I think it's some nominal fee. It's like, I think it's under $25. I'm not sure exactly, but you want to look on the site to order your birth certificate if you don't have a birth certificate. So what do you get after 3.5 hours of waiting? That's how long I had to wait for them to actually call me up finally and process all of my documents. You get the following. You get this page right here that says, here's your receipt. You paid for the Real ID upgrade, which is $30. Yes, there is a fee for this, folks. So Real ID, that's an additional $30 on top of the I believe it's $39.50, which is the renewal fee. So you have to pay both fees up front, and then you get a receipt that says you paid $69.50, and then you get the privilege of standing in line yet again, for your photo to be taken. So now that you know about this, you might wonder, do I get my Real ID right away so I can just walk out and I've got my Real ID? Not necessarily. So downtown in the Philly DMV, you do not get the Real ID card right then and there. They take your photo, and then they give you this paper that basically says that you can use this in lieu of your Real ID until you actually receive your Real ID in the mail, which can take up to 15 business days. Now, let me tell you what 15 business days is. 15 business days counts Monday to possibly Friday. So I'm going to say possibly Friday because on occasion they will take more than the so-called 15 business days, but they try to send this out to you sooner than later. That's the hope, right? So, so 15 business days. That's only counting Monday to Friday. So that means give them 3 weeks to process this and actually send this to you, and you receive this within 3 weeks. That's basically what it's saying. So yeah, you get this in the mail. You do not get this in person, which is like kind of the most oddest thing, and this can cause like anxiety for a lot of people. So a lot of people who are like used to getting things right away, right? You have to wait for it now. It's like, how many times in the world do you have to actually wait for something these days, except for waiting in line for the DMV for 3.5 hours? That's crazy. Yeah, I was there from 11:39 and I left at 3:09. 3.5 hours. That's crazy pants. Yeah, so I basically produced this video so that all of you can understand a little bit about the process, so that you don't get caught like off, like, what is it, off guarded or unguarded. I don't want you to like not have your documents with you, because if you stand in that line, it was a long line this fateful Friday here. So just to get to the front person to actually ask me the questions like, why are you here? Basically, you say that you're there for a real ID, and then you have to show them all of the documents that are required. And this lady up front was the one who was like, kind of acting like real tough towards the customers. So it's like you might encounter stuff like that. So make sure that you have your whole envelope or packet of information ready and on hand, so that when you come up to the desk people, who are very nice and friendly, only the front person was like kind of like mean. But otherwise, like the people behind the desks, they're really cool. And the photo op people, the photo ID people, really cool. So yeah, you can go there and you can get your picture taken a couple of times if you don't like the first ones. So yeah, so pretty darn cool. So yeah, everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you, bye, and hopefully you'll get your real ID smoothly. See you, bye.